Good morning, and thank you for joining us on this SAG-AFTRA live stream on YouTube. To stay informed about all of our live stream and video events, we invite you to subscribe to this channel. You can go ahead and do that right now. Today, we present the President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live stream, Biz Basics, SAG-AFTRA Foundation Computer Lab classes. The presentation will begin momentarily. If you have questions that you'd like to direct to today's guests, please email PTEOE@sagaftra.org. That's PTEOE@sagaftra.org. As a reminder, today's program is being recorded and you can watch the replay right here on SAG-AFTRA on YouTube, along with more great content. Now, please give a warm welcome to today's host, SAG-AFTRA Executive Vice President, Rebecca Damon.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement, Biz Basics. This is a series of programs that are aimed at honing the basic skills that every SAG-AFTRA member needs to pound the digital pavement. Especially as we're all doing things from home during this pandemic, these skills become even more important than they ever were before. The idea of these presentations is to make sure that you have access to the basic how-tos of managing the business of the biz online. So we're really happy to bring you today's presentation. I know it's going to be a favorite of mine and we haven't even gotten started yet. This is the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Computer Lab classes. And to get you into the mix with that, in the presentation, you're going to learn all about the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Computer Lab, which offers just dozens of classes online. And all of these are designed to empower you and to help you focus on your career. They're all free for SAG-AFTRA members who are eligible to participate in the foundation programs. You're going to learn how to register the website, how to sign up for the computer lab classes, and we're also going to get a really good overview today of some of the classes that are available so you know how to access those. We have a lot to cover, but you may have some questions. So if you have questions, you can send those in to PTEOE@sagaftra.org. That's PTEOE@sagaftra.org. So you can email those in. Today we have a fantastic presenter with us. I'm so pleased to have Choe, who is the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's IT and Creative Production Manager. I've known Jay for a long time, so it's great to be able to see you virtually today. Jay runs our New York Computer Lab. He offers dozens of classes that help members not only understand the digital side of the business, but also how to use technology as a catalyst to enable new opportunities for their careers. Jay has been teaching classes to our members in New York local since 2016. It's been great because now the whole country can access Jay's expertise. And that is just a really exciting piece of the puzzle that we've been able to add. Jay has an MFA from NYU in film production, so he's a great resource there as well. Prior to that, he was an entrepreneur focusing on technology and marketing. And since he arrived at the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, he has really just blossomed in his love of teaching. It is so good to have you here today, Jay. I'm really excited about it. And I know folks are excited to dive right in and learn about the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Computer Lab. So I'm going to take it right over to you, and then I'll be back with some member questions in just a bit.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Pamela. And thank you, SAG-AFTRA, for inviting me here and having me here. It's really a pleasure to be here and to share with you everything that we're doing at the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Computer Lab. Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen in a moment. Just give me 1 second while I get that up and running, because I have a little presentation I'd like to share with you all today. So as you heard and as you know, today's Biz Basics presentation is about the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Computer Lab. My title at the foundation is IT and Creative Production Manager, which is really just a fancy way of saying I'm the nerdiest guy at the foundation in New York. And as it relates to today's class, I run the computer lab in New York and I teach all the classes that the computer lab offers. The great thing about this pandemic, honestly, is that everything at the foundation is now online, including all of our classes. So these classes that were only historically for the New York membership is now available not just nationwide, but even worldwide, as long as you have a foundation account and an internet connection. So my goals today are pretty straightforward and simple as I see it. I'm going to simply show you the website, which is sagaftra.foundation, how to sign up for an account if you don't already have one. I'll show you how to find the computer lab classes and how to sign up for them. And lastly, I'm going to show you all the classes that we offer at the computer lab and just give you sort of a quick rundown as to what may pique your interest. So before I get into the website itself, just want to clarify a couple of things. I get asked a lot of these types of questions about our website. The foundation and the union are separate entities, so therefore we have separate websites. A lot of people mistake that in trying to find foundation programming on the union side and vice versa, trying to find union information on our website. We're two different entities offering two different things, obviously. So when you want to find foundation programming, obviously go to our website, which is sagaftra.foundation. So just to, again, emphasize this, we're not a .com, we're not a .org, we are .foundation. Those are both, those are all domain suffixes. There are a lot of them out there, but want to clarify that we're not sagaftrafoundation.org or .com, specifically sagaftra.foundation. A lot of members mistake the fact that since they are a member, they must automatically have a foundation account, and that's actually not true. But because you're an active member, you are eligible for a foundation account, and that membership grants you the ability to set up an account, which is what I'm going to show you in one moment. Let's just dive into the website. So I'm going to just briefly change my share. I'm going to just stop my share and change it to my web browser. And there I am. So here is the sagaftra.foundation website. You all know this, but just in case you didn't know, you'll always open up a web browser. Web browser is just a piece of software that enables you to browse the internet, specifically to find certain websites. Go up to the top, the address bar, and simply type in sagaftra.foundation, hit enter, and then you'll see our website. When you see our website, you'll know that you're there because it almost always looks very similar in that the top and the bottoms are always pretty consistent. In the middle of the page, you'll always see highlights of things that we are highlighting. In this case, we have a lovely video that we made to make everyone aware as to how much we have accomplished in this past year. And again, the great thing about the foundation is that we have transitioned everything online. So everything has not skipped a beat, in that everything is now online and available for members to partake wherever they might be. So at the very top, you'll see all kinds of little menus as to learn different things about the foundation, who we are, what we offer. I recommend you take some time to go through that at your leisure. At the bottom of the page, there are also other things of note, which I'll talk about in a moment. And in the middle of the page, again, like I said, we highlight certain things you can click on to get more information about that thing. Obviously, we have a golf event here. Click on that, you could see more information about that event. I'm actually going to ask you to direct your attention. I'm actually going to sign out of my account. The top right corner, which is where you want to sign in to the website. Now, if you don't have an account, you'll hit the same sign in button, because once you do that, you'll see you can enter your credentials to get into your foundation account. If you don't have a foundation account, you will click on this create a new account link. Click on that once. And you'll see a sign up page. And it's pretty straightforward. You'll put in your name, obviously. Some information as to how we can contact you, your phone, email. Going to be asked to confirm your email and your password. Enter those twice to make sure that we have it correct. And you'll want to pull out your member ID card and enter that information here. And below that, we have some opt-ins for you to let us know if you're in any of these markets, because if you are, you'll get specific emails regarding programming or events that are in those particular markets. Let's sign up, and that's about it. But it's not it, actually, because once you hit that sign up button, you will be sent an email. The website will send you an email asking you to verify your email address to make sure we got the email address correct. You'll look for that email address, that email, click the link in that email, and that will complete the process for your sign up. So it's a very important step. If you don't find that email and don't click that link in that email, your account is not verified and not set up, and it will not prevent you from signing up for classes and events. So please make sure you find that. If you're in trouble, we can always help you along the way. I'm going to go back. That sign up button. If, let's say, you set up your account and you forget your password, there's a convenient forgot password link right here, right below where you would normally enter your password, right there. If you forgot your password, which happens all the time, click that link and you can be sent instructions on resetting your password. You would simply type in the email that you use to set up your foundation account, and then hit this button to have that email sent to you. And then when you find that email in your inbox, you can then follow those instructions and reset your password. There are also convenient links below that. If you need to read frequently asked questions, which is what FAQ stands for, click on that, and you'll see a lot of different answers to various questions. We get quite a bit, and hopefully that'll help you get unstuck if you are feeling stuck. I'm going to go back, and there's also an instructional video. If you have forgotten your password and need to reset it, this video will also walk you step by step through the process of resetting your password. Go back, and I'm going to sign in now. And so my web browser has my credentials set up for me by default. I want to make clear that this is not the website doing this. This is actually the web browser doing the saving your login information for your convenience. I have it turned on, obviously, because I'm on my computer. I recommend you don't do this, though, if you're on any kind of computer that has access, that is being used by more than one person. And that way, that prevents those people, someone you don't know, perhaps, from getting into your account. Otherwise, this is all done by the web browser and not by our website. So I'm going to click on the sign in button now to access my account. Every time you access your login to your foundation account, you'll see this dashboard, and it looks the same for everybody. In the middle of the page, there are lots of icons. I'm not going to go through all of them now because I want to focus on the computer lab, but I do want to show you how you can find the computer lab classes. So if you click on my upcoming programs, or program calendar, those are both ways to access the calendar of events of all the foundation programming. If I click on my upcoming programs, you'll see that I've got nothing on the page there because I haven't signed up for anything. But if I change this filter at the top, it says show, and it's specifically showing me my upcoming programs, and change this to all programs, I now see everything. If I click the link below where it says program calendar, I see the exact same page. Okay. So, and you can clearly see that there's a lot of things going on at the foundation in the days ahead. I'm going to now look for program, which is right here. If I click on program, I can select what programs I'd like to see. As you can see, we have a casting access program by which you can get one-on-one access in a small setting with a casting director. VoiceOver, very popular program if you're interested in a voiceover career. The business is various programming related to the business itself, and conversations has historically been about screenings and Q&As with actors, other members, and special is sort of none of the above, but something that is specially designed for our membership. And lastly, computer lab. So I'll click on that now. And you'll see I have 2 classes set up for next week, Computer Fundamentals and Intro to iMovie. At the very top, you'll always see where this program is taking place and which department is coming from. So we see online, which means it's available online. When we're back in person, this might say New York or LA or Detroit or wherever it's taking place. And then to the right of that, you'll see the name of the department where it's coming from. And usually it'll be one of these that I showed you a second ago. So if you want to find more information about this program, you clearly see that the time and date of the program is listed right there. If you want to see more information about the program itself, you simply click on the details button. And here's some information about this specific class. And there's a clear RSVP button. You will not see this edit button on your end. This is for me, and some more information about this program. If you want to sign up, you simply click on the RSVP button. You'll see some more information. And then down below, you have to check off you've read the rules for this program, and then hit that RSVP button. Now, if you, for any reason, well, if you see instead of the RSVP button, because if you're on the RSVP list, that means you're in the class. You've got a guaranteed seat in that class. Well, I should clarify though, you have a guaranteed seat as long as you arrive on time. This is very important for in-person classes and programming. For online, it's easier to slip in because you're not obstructing the class or interfering with the class. And so, but it's important to remember that you're guaranteed a seat as long as you arrive on time for the program. If you don't see that RSVP button, you may see wait list instead. So that means the RSVP list is full, and but you can add yourself to the wait list, which is always beneficial, especially for these computer lab classes, because, well, for all of our programming, we often get cancellations the day before the event. And so I strongly encourage you, if you can make that event, to add yourself to the wait list. I also notice for these computer lab classes, how often you're on the wait list for a specific class. And when it's been a few times, I will simply put you in that class because I don't want you to wait too long before you get to take that class. So please take that to heart. Always add yourself to the wait list if you see that the wait list is available. If you do not see it's available, that means that both the RSVP list and the wait list are now full. And in that case, you will not see either button here. And instead, across the image here, you'll see the words programmed full. Okay. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers the website. I'm now going to go back to my presentation and talk a little bit more about the actual computer lab itself and all of our classes. Okay, so here we are. So the computer lab, a brief overview as to what the computer lab is. So as I mentioned before, everything's now online. We're using Zoom, which is free. My role with the foundation, as I see it, is to really empower you all as much as I possibly can to not rely on people to do things for you. Historically, in terms of the computer lab, that has meant not paying people to make demo reels, make websites, because if you've ever done that, you know, it can be very time consuming, very expensive. And then when you've paid that person to make that thing, you can't find that person, or they nickel and dime you, very frustrating process. My point of emphasis here is that the technology today is so accessible that anyone who wants to learn can learn to do these things on their own. These computer lab classes are designed to convince you of that. And I am proud to report that hundreds, if not thousands of members have shared wonderful stories about how they made a website and got a representation, or they made that reel and got that job, or they wrote a screenplay and got it sold. All kinds of great things have happened as a result of taking these classes. I specifically and intentionally use free or inexpensive software. I don't want you to spend money. You obviously can spend money. There's lots of very expensive software out there, but I know how difficult it can be. And so I don't want you to go out of your way to, well, I don't want to create another barrier for you towards making those things I just spoke about. So I specifically almost always use free or very inexpensive software. Is it going to keep you from making your thing as beautiful as you want it to be? No. So there is no disadvantage to using free or inexpensive software at all. All the classes are designed for beginners. And so they're all intro classes. There's no course, there's no curriculum. They're all one-off classes designed for anyone to come in and take. The only prerequisite is that you have some basic understanding of computers. And I know some of you may feel that leaves you out, and it doesn't, because I'm going to get to that in a second, but it does essentially ask that you understand how to save a file or find a file, those kinds of basic things. And if you're having trouble with those things, there are ways for me to help you as well. That said, I do try to put as much as I can into these classes. And so I know that that way, even more tech-savvy members can benefit from these intro classes. And they said that they have, because I'm trying to give you as much of me as I can. All the classes online now, I'm really trying to replicate what we do in the in-person classes. And so in the in-person classes, we're in a little room and you've got a computer and you're working on software, and I'm over your shoulder. I'm not over your shoulder here, but you are going to be working on your own computers, and you are going to be working on projects, namely making a website, making a resume, making a demo reel on your own computer, as you would in the in-person class. Now, I know this can all sometimes seem overwhelming, technology to be specific, but I also want to emphasize that there are so many opportunities. In my opinion, there has never been a better time to be an artist in my book, because the barriers to entry are so much lower than they have been in the past. I went to film school because I wanted access to film cameras, right? But nowadays, everyone's shooting on cameras. You have a camera, you're probably clutching it right now in your hands, and you can shoot a movie with that camera on your smartphones or any device really these days. And so I want to remind everybody that because of this, you can do incredible things. And again, lots of members have shown me they've been making YouTube channels or TikToks and all kinds of great things, even their own feature-length screenplays and movies, and producing them and shooting them and acting in them. All kinds of wonderful things have happened as a result of simply looking at this as an opportunity versus a hurdle. Each of the online classes is 3 hours long. The in-person classes are typically 2 hours long. These online classes are a little bit longer just because there are more people in the class. So the in-person classes are about 8 members at a time, whereas these online classes, it varies from class to class, but typically are 30 to 50 members depending on that class. And I make myself available after the class to answer any other questions you might have. And those of you who have taken the class with me before know that I will stay 1 to 2 hours after the class to make sure everyone is in a good place and ready to move forward, and can put the things that they've learned in that class into good use. So now I know this is a potentially dispiriting looking slide. I wanted to sort of give you a sense as to the breadth of the classes. I'm not going to ask you to read them all for now. I'm actually going to go into more detail in a moment, but I just want to give you a snapshot as to what we offer. And those levels at the very top, 1, 2, and 3, are made up by me. You won't find them on the website, and they're really unimportant, except unless you're looking at this presentation, because they are meant to convey a stratification, as it were, or if I were to organize these classes into different buckets, and I didn't use beginner, intermediate, and advanced because I didn't want to confuse anyone by suggesting an advanced class could not be taken by a beginner because many beginners have taken those classes. Then what is the differentiator? The differentiator usually is simply the actual software or the tool. So sometimes certain tools are designed for professionals and may be difficult or more difficult for a beginner to take on right away. Again, not impossible. And again, many members have. But again, just want to give you a sense as to what the differences are. It's sort of like if level 1 is a hammer and level 3 is a jackhammer, obviously much easier to learn how to use a hammer versus a jackhammer, but not impossible for someone to pick up a jackhammer and use that at the very get-go. So my approach with all of these classes is really to try to meet you where you are, which means, we all start from the same place, not knowing how to do this. It seems like other people know how to do it faster and better and earlier than you did sometimes, but that's not the truth. Simply means that they were exposed to it earlier on. But I do try to imagine where you might be in terms of how you might be struggling, where you're coming from, because I learned them just as you did, not knowing how to do it until I did. So I try to put myself in your shoes. And with that sort of in mind, I thought instead of giving you just sort of dumping information on you, I thought it'd be maybe more helpful, useful, if I gave you a bunch of if statements. So if you find yourself agreeing with any of these statements, then I would suggest, I'm going to have a recommendation as to what you might want to sign up for at the computer lab. So if you feel overwhelmed by technology, feel like a beginner that doesn't know where to start, think it would be helpful to establish a foundation to learn new technical skills, want to understand what's going inside that thing, your computer, then I recommend you sign up for Computer Fundamentals. So if you remember back to when I was showing you the website, the very first class I mentioned was Computer Fundamentals. I intentionally did that so that for those of you who are feeling any of this, you can dive into that class right away. That class is offered next Tuesday. I believe it's May 25th. It's 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. And you can sign up for that class right now. If you go back to that website, again, make sure you have signed up for your foundation account if you haven't already, and then you can sign up for that class today if you'd like. Or if you want to understand casting online, to learn tools to help you to easily edit your audition videos, to understand how to send versus share your audition videos, and we talk about the terminology in the class, want to learn how to safely compress your video, your file sizes, or just to learn tips to help you stand out in the casting process. If any of those things apply, I would suggest Casting Online Basics. Now, I have two varieties of this class. One is designed for Mac users, the other is designed for Windows users. That said, if you are on a Windows computer and see the Mac users class being offered, you can take that class. You don't have to be a Mac user to take that class. 80% of the class is the same for both classes. The 20% that's different is simply referring to tools that are specific to the Mac versus the Windows computer. But most of the class, the majority of the class is overwhelmingly going to be relevant for anyone taking that class. So, or if you want to make your own narrative video or your own demo reel, and you're using a Mac and want something free and easy to learn, then I recommend Intro to Narrative Video Editing with iMovie for Mac. So iMovie is a free program available for anyone with a Mac computer, desktop, or laptop. And it's a great little program. It can do quite a bit for you. You can make demo reels, you can make your own movie. We actually, I send you footage before that class, and we cut a scene together in that class. And a great way to learn iMovie and all that it can do. Or if you want to make a demo reel using a Mac, but you feel like you've outgrown iMovie, maybe you've gotten all you can out of iMovie, but want something similar, then I would recommend Demo Reel Workshop with Final Cut Pro. So it's a similar class as the other demo reel workshops, but specifically learning how to make a demo reel using Final Cut Pro, which is very similar to iMovie. So it's a great place to sort of graduate from iMovie into a more professional level program. And I would then suggest, if you agree with that, Final Cut Pro. Or if you want to make a demo reel, but you have a Windows 10 PC. So the other classes I just mentioned were specific to Mac users. And this is actually a fairly new class because it's designed for those of you who are on a Windows computer, but also want something free that's easy to learn. And I just started this last week or 2 weeks ago, demo reel workshop with Windows Video Editor. So like iMovie, very easy to learn, like iMovie, free as long as you have a Windows 10 PC in this case. and I'll walk you step by step towards making your demo reel using that software. Or if you want to make a demo reel and you have a Mac or a Windows PC, so this applies to both, and you want to use free software, but you want to have a lot of pro options in that software, then I recommend Demo Reel Workshop with DaVinci Resolve. And so DaVinci Resolve is free, as I just mentioned, but it is designed for professionals. So for beginners, it may seem a little overwhelming because I liken it to walking into a 747 cockpit, right? You see lots of bells and whistles, buttons, doodads, gadgets. Can be overwhelming as to what to press and what not to press. The software can sort of feel like that sometimes. That said, I do take you step by step towards helping you understand the software, and even beginners have taken a liking to it. But if you find yourself wanting something else, then I would maybe suggest one of the classes I just mentioned earlier. So if you want to make an actor resume using either a Mac or a Windows computer, and also want to use free software, we have a resume building workshop as well. And this is, again, specific towards making an actor resume and all that entails. And if you're interested, please sign up for that class. If you want to make an actor website now using a Mac or Windows, and that's also free, you'd want to sign up for website building workshop. And just as with the resume building class, we're specifically making an actor website for you to use, for you to sort of have a central hub to direct people to find all the stuff that's great about you as an actor, and really just trying to make it really easy for someone on the casting side to contact you and to consider you for the role. Or if you want to touch up your headshots or other images using either a Mac or a PC, we have Intro to Photoshop Elements. So Elements is the non-professional version of the pro software known as Photoshop. I teach this class because, unlike Photoshop, Elements is a one-time fee. It can be had for under $100, whereas the full-blown professional version of Photoshop is a monthly fee, which is obviously more expensive, which is why I don't teach that class as often as this one. If you want to write your own screenplay or learn what software options are out there, we have Intro to Screenwriting. All the classes are popular. This is no different. A lot of members, as I said before, have been doing great things after taking this class, writing all kinds of fun things, and even making their own content. Now, if you've taken those classes and want to learn even more, and this came about because members simply asked me to design follow-up classes after those intro classes. If you want, so as a result, I have made these part 2 classes for iMovie, for Final Cut, for website building, Photoshop, Elements, screenwriting, and DaVinci Resolve as well. So just showing you more advanced, I shouldn't say advanced, but more options for you to take advantage of the software to do even more with whatever it is that you want to create. And lastly, if you want a dedicated session to work on your projects, ask me individual questions in a session like this, but it will be in a Zoom session together. Pick up where you left off in class. I have a session called class called Computer Lab Online, Ask Any Tech Questions. So that class is unlike the other classes in that it's not a class where I'm teaching you specific things. It's simply a time for us to get together, for you to work on your projects, and for you to ask questions to help you because maybe you're stuck on something and want to hopefully get unstuck by asking me a question, and hopefully I'll have the answer for you to get unstuck, or to ask any technical question you want to ask during that session. And that is a monthly offering. The next one will be announced in a few weeks. So if that's interesting to you or of interest to you, please look for that class. And if you have any other questions or have even an idea for a new class, you can always reach me at complabny@sagaftra.foundation. So you don't have to capitalize the Comp Lab NY. I just did that for you so you can clearly read it. But it's obviously Computer Lab, New York, no spaces, Comp Lab NY @sagaftra.foundation. And my work number is there as well if you'd like to give me a call. Okay, so with that, I will turn it back to Rebecca.
All right. Wow, that was a lot. There was so much. And I just want to remind people, because we get this question a lot, is it something where they can come back and watch it later, and you can come back and rewatch this on the YouTube channel if you want to go back and hear something that Jay said again, and he obviously gave you email and phone number. So if you need to follow up with him, you can. We have a lot of great questions, so I'm gonna try to go through these, as many of these as we can in the time we have.
Right.
The first question is, do I have to be on Zoom to do these classes right now? And also, is there a class offered by the foundation to teach me about Zoom? So that is a question that comes up a lot for some of the folks that might want this programming. So what do you say to that one, Jay?
That's a good question. So yes, everything at the foundation uses Zoom. So you do have to use Zoom. It is free, doesn't cost you anything. I guess it's awkward to do a class in Zoom while we're on Zoom, because normally we're using Zoom to show you the other piece of software, right? But I will say it's really straightforward. If you have questions about downloading it and installing it, you can contact me. I can walk you through that. And then once you have it on there, you'd simply click the link that we provide you to open up the Zoom session for that specific program, in this case, Computer Lab class, and then you'll see me and I'll get you going with whatever questions you might have.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk offline and see if maybe a Zoom 101 is something we could do in this format, so that the people who then want to sign up could see you share your screen and show them how to walk it through. We want to make it as easy for everybody, and you're such a great teacher.
Thank you.
So maybe we'll talk about that. I'm going to hit you up. So nothing like announcing it for the live audience. There is a question about people who are I'm already registered on the SAG-AFTRA website, and you kind of touched on this. Why do I have to register separately for the foundation's website? Can you explain that again? And I might even jump in a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So we're separate entities. So as a result, we have to have separate websites. It would be nice, I understand, but but we're simply separate companies. And so, but the nice thing again is that because you have an active membership with the union, you are then automatically eligible for a foundation account. And you saw how easy it was. It will take you literally a minute or two to fill out that form. And then once you hit that button, you'll see that email will come to your inbox. And then you click that link in that email and you're done. You've got a foundation account. And Rebecca, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, so SAG-AFTRA, the union, right? Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. The union is just exactly that. It's a union, and you are a member of the union. But foundation is its own separate 501c3, and by law, it's a totally separate organization, just like the pension plan or the health plan or the retirement fund or other organizations that benefit our members out there are separate organizations. It has to be its own separate sign up and everything like that. But it is super easy. Jay, you guys made it simple for people to be able to get on there, get the information. And the great part is you can access this at any point. We have people who are SAG-AFTRA members taking foundation courses from all over the world. And so you may be, Jay happens to be here in New York with me, but he's teaching to people all around the country and all around the world. And so, in our union, we're in our governance structure, we're in our locals, but I also saw another question, can I take these classes no matter where I am? And the answer is yes. And so you just make that account and then you're rocking and rolling and ready to go. The SAG-AFTRA Foundation and the union obviously work together and partner all the time, even like today. which is super exciting for that. The foundation also has, in addition to the computer lab, just there are things that the union should do, like collective bargaining, you know, and negotiating contracts and organizing and enforcement, those kind of things. But there are things that are educational that are really the foundation's wheelhouse. These kind of classes at the computer lab, Jay showed on the screen, the voiceover lab, and we've done some stuff with them throughout the pandemic. You know, all of the fantastic Q&As and conversations, those career conversations, Storyline Online. So the foundation has a whole basket of activities that as a SAG-AFTRA member, you are able to be in the mix and join. So I'm giving it a little bit of a foundation commercial, but the foundation does all these other things for SAG-AFTRA members, including things like scholarships and emergency assistance, COVID-19 relief, the list goes on and on. So getting that account will be great because you can do the computer lab stuff, but you're going to see a whole world of things that are just going to open up to you. And it is, to me, it's one of the best things members can do. I always say to people, right when they especially join new, make sure the next thing you're going to do, if you do one thing, is go and join that foundation and get an account so that you're in the mix for everything that they have to offer. And now that people have heard you do it, they're going to be less intimidated, which I think is super great. People want to know if there's a cost to take classes. I mentioned it at the beginning, but maybe they need to hear it from you, Jay. Is there a cost to take these classes?
It's $1 million. No, I'm kidding. It's free. It's free.
It's
Everything
free.
the foundation offers is 100% free, and will be that way in perpetuity.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. These are real things that members can do. And I love also you talked about the fact that you mentioned a lot of the things that you try to, whenever possible, use a free version of the software. And that's also awesome. You're saving folks a lot of money. If I'm doing these classes from home, what kind of computer is best for taking these classes? I have a PC. I've heard that Macs are better. I'm not sure if I want to learn a whole new computer language. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, it's a good question. So you don't need a super fancy computer or something that, was purchased recently. My personal computer is 10 years old, as an example. And many members have logged into these classes using computers as old. The only potential hurdle might be if your computer can't run the latest software. And even then, it's not really a hurdle. It is a hurdle in that you won't see the same software on your screen as on my screen, but you'll see hopefully enough that you can follow along, because you can just watch if you'd like, and members have done that. And members, as in your, with regards to that question, specifically, should I get a Mac computer? Some members have taken my Mac classes just to see if they want to buy a Mac. I do strongly recommend that you don't just buy the Mac to take my classes or to make a demo reel, because you can make all those things with any computer you have. So I don't want you to feel like you are at a disadvantage with your older computer, because like I said, again, I'm using an older computer and I've had no problems whatsoever. And as you get more comfortable with the classes and the technology and what's out there, you may then, and this has happened, opt to get that other computer because you want to do something that your old computer can't do, but something specific for you and your careers. And that is a wonderful thing. I don't want you to think, though, that you need to buy a new computer just for these classes.
That's great. I think that's so important, because I do think a lot of times, especially during the pandemic, economics being a barrier to entry to so many things, and in so many ways that we can level that playing field. That was a terrific answer. So how does it work post-pandemic when things are back in person? Do I just walk in? Do I need to make an appointment? How does that work?
Good question. So the in-person lab is really first and foremost a classroom. It's not a sort of college computer lab and you can sort of walk in and use the facility. It is designed for classes, and those computers need to be maintained. And so it's not available for walk-in hours. But that said, we do have scheduled time for you to come in to use the programs, use the computers. when we're back in person, that is called scheduled lab. So it's sort of like signing up for class, but instead of signing up for class, if you want to sign up to just use our computers and software, you would sign up for that dedicated session, which is akin to that Ask Any Tech Questions class I mentioned before. But in person, it'll be called Scheduled Lab, and you'd simply sign up and you can come in and work on whatever you'd like.
Great. Which is the best computer class to start with?
All of them.
All of them. There you go. You're not biased. Okay.
It's a good question. Which is why I sort of tried to give people an idea, sort of a feel as to if they're in this, pond versus that pond, which direction to go. So I would say whatever piques your interest. Again, if you feel like you're at a beginner level and feel like you need some basics under your belt, then I would strongly recommend that computer fundamentals class. I do teach that class very differently from other basic classes out there, because I was a computer programmer a long time ago, and I really literally show you how computer works in the hopes that I can demystify all of it, because it's sort of like, I see a lot of members who know how to, it's like going to a foreign country, and knowing how to ask for the waiter or the menu or the bathroom, right? But you'd never ask, how are you doing, right? Because you would know what they were saying. And so to me, it's a little bit like that. A lot of members know how to check their email or make a video, but don't really know what to do with those things after they've made that thing. And so I feel like there's a disconnect, and I want to sort of bridge that disconnect, and by showing you how a computer works. Otherwise, if it's just to make a specific thing like a demo reel or a website, then obviously you would start there.
Gotcha. Person says they see the intro to computer class offered this month. Are there others? And how soon can I sign up? People are ready right now. They're ready, Jay.
I think they're referring to this actually. So this is obviously going to be available on the union's YouTube channel, right? And so you can watch this over and over again to feel like you can take the class as many times as you'd like. But otherwise, you'd simply come in, take any class with me you like, and you can ask me questions during that class, obviously, and I'll get you situated. Most importantly, again, I want to emphasize how I've helped what feels like thousands of members who feel like they are novices. They can't get over this hurdle, this technology, and they feel like they're being left behind. I do not want that to happen. And so, and now I would say 99% of the members who come in with that feeling have, with some time and effort, maybe months of time and effort, are now doing what I just described, making websites, furthering their career, doing incredible things when they thought they couldn't do before. So it can happen for anyone as long as you want it to. That's the emphasis there.
That's so great to hear you say that. So yes, people can watch this again, but they can also retake like a computer class. So if they take one of the classes, there's not like a limit. You can only take it one time.
Correct.
That's great. Because I think people worry about that. Some of us need to hear things more than once, and there's no, you always want to be a learner your whole life. So that's really important. So can we talk a little bit more about how the wait list works? We have a question about people want to understand when they're notified, if they're able to join. How does that happen?
So going back to the website, I showed you how to sign up, right? There's an RSVP button and a waitlist button if there's no RSVP button, because that RSVP list is full, and there's a wait list. And so again, I'm strongly encouraging you to sign up for that wait list, because sometimes members feel like, oh, I can't get into the class because there's only a wait list. Again, many members cancel the night before because life happens, because they got an audition, because they just can't make that class that day, and which will open up spots for those on the wait list. And you can't get in if you're not on the wait list. So again, please always add yourself to the wait list. And lastly, I do notice how often you're on the wait list. So if you're on the wait list for that website class 3 times, I'll see that. And the next time you sign up, I'll simply put you in the class.
Great. Okay, let's see. So somebody's just getting involved today. They're trying to understand, is it a monthly schedule? Are they announced, every week? How do I know? Where can I find the information? And are emails sent out with that info?
Great question. So when you sign up, you'll start receiving foundation emails. As of now, we send out emails Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And in each of those emails, you'll see various new programs, new events that are being announced by all the departments I mentioned before. And so these classes, these computer lab classes, new classes are posted every other Wednesday. So every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. In fact, I just posted new classes today for all of you. So you can sign up for those right now. Look for that email. That email is sent out around 11 a.m. Pacific time, give or take, obviously. And when you see that email, that's your cue to check the website to sign up for whatever piques your interest. And then with all those instructions I showed you before, to RSVP or to waitlist for that class.
Great. This person wants to know, can they bring either a guest to either the virtual computer lab class, or can they bring a guest when it's safe to do so again?
So certain programming at the foundation allows you to bring a guest, like our screenings. You can bring a guest. Because the in-person computer lab environment is so small, only 8 seats, it's difficult for us to give up a seat for a non-member. And so we do ask that only members take our classes, and we currently do not permit guests as of now.
Great. We just have time for a couple more questions. Somebody wants to know, are you offering any classes in Excel?
Oh, good question. I got asked this question recently, so maybe it's the same person. Yeah, so I had to be convinced as to, because all the classes are designed for members, for actors. And so I couldn't wrap my head around Excel and acting, but I was convinced. So I'm going to do a class on Excel specifically to help you track auditions and your work and opportunities. And I can see that being very helpful. So there will be a class on that it won't be right away, but I have a whole list of new classes coming down the pipe.
That you're adding as things come up, and we can prove the business purpose to you. I for sure. That's great. Okay, we have, I think, just one more that I can squeeze in here before we ran out of time. For the computer lab classes where we learn the specific software, do I need to order that specific software to take the class, or did you kind of mentioned earlier that people could just follow along? So can you explain that a little bit more? Because maybe that wasn't, for a lot of people, this is the first time they're hearing this stuff. So I want to make sure it's as easy to grasp as possible.
Sure, I'm happy to answer that question. So yes, I mean, obviously you'll want to have the software to take full advantage of the class. In some cases, you might have to purchase it, but even in those instances, once you've signed up, I send you a link to download some trial software, so free software, even for the paid software. To take the class requires no investment on your part. If you wanted to buy that software after taking the class because you enjoy the software enough to actually make an investment, then by all means. But to take the actual class does not require you to make any kind of investment. And again, most of the classes are using free software that are obviously require no investment. And again, if you are on a different computer or don't have a computer but still want to learn, you can simply watch and take advantage of the class that way. And then perhaps when you have a computer or a new computer, you can then come back with that software and take full use of everything we talk about in that class.
That's so great, Jay. I'm so glad you were able to be with us today. I know it means a lot to people. I think during this pandemic, it's been such a moment of acceleration. So for some folks that might have been struggling with this stuff, I mean, I think they've felt it more because of the pandemic, and are trying to up their games and trying to have access. So like, I feel that I've always thought that the computer lab was a really good gift for all of the members. But I do think that in this moment where so much of our connectivity relies on our being able to access technology, not just personally, but for careers, I really just feel like it's an enormous help and an enormous leg up for people who are trying to get into the game, in this new time. So I really just appreciate everything that the foundation and you are doing. It's good stuff. So I really need to thank you for all the SAG-AFTRA benefits that you mentioned here from the foundation, and for the computer lab just generally. I can't wait to see you again in person, Jay. But I hope that everybody that's been watching today actually just feels like, you know what, I can do this. I can take this step. I'm going to be inspired. I'm going to take the inspiration that Jay gave us, and I'm going to sign up for computer class right away. That's what I'm hoping you're going to be saying to yourself. No matter where you are in this, whether it's something that it all feels very intimidating, or whether you're kind of good at it, but you just need to step things up your game, it really is for you. So you can watch a replay of this live stream right here on the YouTube channel. So while you're here, if you just go down there, you can actually subscribe to the SAG-AFTRA YouTube channel. I think you should also subscribe to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation channel, really important. And so on behalf of the team here at SAG-AFTRA, with great thanks to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, I want to just thank you for taking the time to be really here with us today. It is a pleasure to be able to do these things, and I hope that you're watching and that you're doing okay. So thanks to everybody who's tuned in each week. We've been doing this every week for the President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement, all of these live streams. And I hope that you will take advantage of everything on the sagaftra.foundation website, as well as sagaftra.org. Thanks very much, everybody. Be safe and get your